I'll teach to go back and look at the top. If they're blogging, if they're not, obviously start with the websites, but start with the most traffic and be strategic with your time and intentional with your time. Start with the blogs that make you money.
Hello and welcome to the Simple and Smart SEO Show,
where we provide tips and advice to improve your website's search engine ranking.
I'm Brittany Herzberg, SEO copywriter for holistic health and wellness pros who want to show up as the answer to a Googled question.
And I'm Crystal Waddell, an e-commerce seller and content creator. I help business owners communicate the value of their products and services through content so you can make more sales and grow your business.
We're business besties who love learning and sharing what we've learned. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump in.
All right. So what was your next question, B? I'm sorry. I don't even know if you got through your first question because I jumped in front of it.
Well, no, we got it because we asked her to describe or define or whatever SEO. And then I don't know what train track we just went down.
We were talking a lot about my business and insight with Google Analytics, but we should probably talk about what the VA could actually do.
Yeah, we could.
Yes.
Well, here's a question for you. So I know that SEO is something that you train your students with, but like, what do you see people come to you with any base or foundation of understanding of SEO? Like, what is the thing that people are like, oh yeah, I know this about SEO. Is there anything?
I very rarely have that person who does that, who knows it all already. That's usually an area where they're feeling weak. And I give them exactly what they need to know to get started. So the whole point is they can implement their clients' marketing strategies. So I'm not teaching them to be an SEO specialist. Like there will be another training, especially with a lot of the tech. Like I give them the rundown, optimizing with the Yoast plugin and file naming and meta descriptions and all of that. So they know what to get started and then tracking this for their clients. But I mean, like you can just keep going and going, but my SEO module is an hour and it's probably too long, but it's like one of my favorite.
That's awesome. What do you, out of curiosity, because now I'm like, well, I think Crystal and I both have some things that are similar and some things are slightly different about like where we would suggest people start. Where do you start people with when it comes to SEO and like learning it?
Well, a lot of times we go back and optimize what's already there. Because there's usually clients who don't have it. They have nothing. Like I said, they have the website designer who does nothing. And especially I'll teach to go back and look at the top. If they're blogging, if they're not, obviously start with the websites, but start with the most traffic and be strategic with your time and intentional with your time. Start with the blogs that make you money and work on those. And then I really love doing the research for ideas and kind of steering clients toward that, because clients will tend to like ping around. And I'm thinking about a lot of creatives. Like I have a furniture painter I work with, and she's always doing like in-depth tutorials, and I have to bring her back and like how to paint furniture, how to top coat furniture, and I have to like break it out of her and remind her. And it's just like, sometimes they don't see that, right? Like you don't see what's in front of you. And so having a VA who can use your SEO tool to do the research for you and track things and tell you like, this is working. Like, look, this is growing. Like all of that's helpful.
Well, okay. So you just validated me. I have to, as a teacher, I have to show you guys my work here.
Oh my gosh.
Downloaded. Yeah. I downloaded from Ahrefs all of the URLs and the keywords and everything that I was ranking for. And then as I was thinking about it last night, I was like, okay, now that I've got most things cleaned up and I know the direction that I want to go, what should I do next? And I thought, you know what? I need to optimize those pages that have the highest traffic value. I'll start there and just make sure those are perfect. And then I'll work my way down. So you saying that, I was like, I just did that, So I want to say thank you for that. But one question I had about like working with, like, say, if you're going to call them an SEO assistant or something instead of a virtual assistant, how do you give access, or how do they get access to people's websites? And how does that work? I mean, because are they, writing meta descriptions and then giving it back to the person and saying, here, place this here on your website? Or do they actually have access to the back end? How do you handle that?
Well, that's why I do the versatile marketing assistant. So you can trust them with basic updates with WordPress. I do Kajabi and WordPress, but Squarespace is easy to figure out. You can give logins and add them as users. You can add them as users to Google Analytics, and they can have their own thing. But that's nice when you can track them in case something like they mess it up. You can see who did it, or you can revert back. But yeah, I totally give them access to that. And I just
that's always my biggest fear. Side note is like, I'm going to go in someone's back end. I mean, Emily and I collaborated on a project, and I was like, Emily, please like watch me so I don't screw this up.
I have. I've been on the phone with GoDaddy, like, bring the website back.
Yeah.
It's like a plugin that broke it. But I mean, every time that happens, I get smarter, first of all. But yeah, I mean, it could happen, but there's always some backup, to use. It's just figuring out how to access that. So,
or who to call.
Yeah, but
Emily, what's the number?
Yeah, I usually try to keep the marketing assistants inside the posts or the pages. Like, they're usually at this like mailroom level. They're not usually designing something from scratch, like they're going in there and optimizing. And I think that's such a good way to learn and get somebody learning your site and where things are and what your content is. And if they can start with the content that exists, if they're a go-getter, like that will just open up doors for them to like step up in many different roles for you.
So I have a piggyback or follow-up question for that, because I wrote down, what are helpful things for business owners to have in place as far as SEO goes, so that the VAs can actually help them modify or optimize those pieces?
Oh, that's a good idea. I don't know if they have to have anything in place. Like
I'm even just talking about like the accounts, or what pieces of the strategy should they have, or just like what are the basics that you could be able to say, here, person, please help me.
Yeah, I think them kind of figuring out what are the helping decide what some of those words are. But I mean, a go-getter can go in and expand on that too. What I find is a lot of people don't even know that. So I would like to be able to just get access to the SEO, like at this level, like the client pays for the SEO. I do Uber suggest.
We do too.
And then I give my team access, and I'm like, go in there, figure it out, like what's ranking and what's working. So I'm kind of not really answering your question, because I don't think you have to have anything. I think if you have someone who has a head start and understands it, they could just run with it and own that. And I think having that spreadsheet like you have, where you can track it and see over time. I know that data is in Google, but like I like a spreadsheet, and I like to see where the positions are. I like to remember what that word is.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. So 2 follow-up questions to that, or one, actually one comment and a follow-up question. Well, no, I'm just thinking, hello, for all 3 of us, this is an opportunity right there. I think that is an amazing freebie that would be so helpful to a business owner.
Yeah.
Is, how to prep for, an SEO assistant, because you have to be able to have an intelligent conversation, or you're going to end up with a website that has no meta descriptions,
Right.
So it's like, okay, what are the things that you want to be able to check off a list, even if you don't know exactly what they are? You want your person to be able to understand what those things are, and you want them to be able to show you where they've been implemented. So I think that is actually a really, really great idea and helpful, line of questioning and thinking or whatever. And then the other question, lost it, but maybe I'll find it in a little bit.
I have something to add to that. I had a lady from my course, and I'm going to throw her under the bus right now because she will not listen to this. I got her a job with a bigwig, helping go back and optimize the blogs, and she never reported what she was doing.
No, I
don't. All you have to do is say, like, I fixed these 10 blogs, like track them, say what the keyword is. You could even like document the word before, like document the ranking before, and that way you get your own results as a freelancer, right? Like, so you can use that. But yeah, she wasn't reporting anything, and this client is a huge person and was like, what the heck? And she kept saying, I just want to know what you're working on. It wasn't even like a mistrust thing. It's just, I want to know this is happening, because it's one of those things that's so long term. You don't see the results immediately anyway.
And the big wigs are the ones that want to track that stuff. Sorry, this is one of my hills that I'm like, this grinds my gears to no end, because I have yet to work with a client who hasn't been messed over by some strategist, marketer, copywriter, you name it. And it drives me bananas because it's not that hard to track what you're doing. Even if you feel like you're annoying the client, I just like will fire off emails. Hey, today. Like I'll say what I did, what the page was, the date, like whatever it is. I might also have that on my own spreadsheet, but like letting them know just so that they are aware that you are doing something.
Yes.
Sorry, Crystal. I'll stop talking.
Okay. Well, no, that's okay. That reminded me of what my question was. So that was the question. How often do you follow up? Like how often do you do the report on the keyword changes or updates or that type of thing? Is that something that you have a recommendation on?
I feel like monthly. I feel like that's not something the client, when you think about busy business owners, we don't need a weekly report. We just want to know it's getting done. So I feel like whenever you invoice, that should 100% be part of your invoice. And so I have this whole blog catalog that I do, and I give my students in my course, and it's like, what is the top traffic? What is a ranking blog? What are the keywords? Like, how is it monetized? What's the call to action? Usually I embed either a podcast or YouTube. So like I have it all mapped out, and just to be able to show your work, that will help with any kind of, what's the word I'm thinking about? Like if you get in any kind of argument about the work being accepted and completed,
it helps you
like,
have
you need
that backup. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that as an independent contractor. You need to say, look, this is what I did. And
because a lot of that, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but a lot of that comes from just like the business owner. I told you I was going to interrupt. A lot of this comes from the business owner just not knowing. I don't want to call it ignorance, but it's like they just don't know what they don't know.
Afraid to ask. They're always afraid to ask. It goes back to what
it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. It's such a like an ego trip because it's like, well, I have to pretend that I know what I'm talking about or that I know what to expect, and just not even knowing the right questions to ask.
You know who? Somebody and I'm not going to throw her under the bus right now, but she hired some SEO company to help her, and she's very disappointed. And I wonder if they did any of that, because I think it's one of those easy services to be like, yeah, I did it. And you just don't know. And was it done right? Yep. And they don't have the knowledge to course correct,
No. And that's the biggest thing. It's like just a big giant, like, what is it? The man behind the green curtain or whatever in the Wizard of Oz. And like, they're just like, here's some fancy stuff. Like I can do this stuff for you. But then there's never anything to back it up. And the business owners feel, cheated out of something, but they don't know what to say or how, like you said, they don't know how to course correct because they're like, well, I hired you, you're a professional, I'm supposed to like just trust you.
Okay, but I just to be devil's advocate here too, I think sometimes the goals shift, especially like as you learn, because I'm thinking even from the perspective of our e-commerce site, just recently I've been able to, understand some of this reporting from Google Search Console or Google Analytics. And it's saying, okay, these are the blogs that people are visiting. And, after talking to Ashley and after listening right now to Emily, it's reinforced this idea of like, okay, what retargeting campaigns can we, start running as a strategy to say, okay, you looked at this blog and I wrote this content specifically to meet them before they need us, right?
Yeah.
But now I need to continue moving them to where they need to buy our product. And so that's the new strategy question. That's the new strategic things that come in.
So glad you said this, because I just did a VIP day with an ad setup for a client a couple of weeks ago. I told you I do everything. And one of her really good traffic ads is to a blog. And that's amazing because you capture that data and you can retarget them. So yesterday I was like setting up my little traffic ads, and I'm going to go to my blog that's getting 2,000 hits a month. And I'm going to just start sending different audiences there and testing it out. But yeah, like this is a strategy that I think works because I think we're tired of being over marketed to in a certain industry. And you're like, oh, an article, I don't have to opt in. I don't have to like get an upsell and an order bump and know that there's like a huge pitch coming. It's just a freaking article. And so I'm going to see, I'll report back to you. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let us know. Because I think that that's also kind of what you just said is also why those case studies have been, rising in the marketing world, because people want to see stories. We don't want to have to opt into crap. We don't want to have to watch something or get the order. I hate order bumps. And I don't use that word very often, but like it just makes my skin crawl. I'm like, I understand it, but can we not? I just wanted to get this template thing.
That needs to be on a bumper sticker. I love it.
We're going to put it in our merch stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, I have to tell you what happened to me last night.
Yes.
I'm a DCA affiliate for Amy Porterfield, right? My audience is a lot of virtual assistants who don't want to spend money. So like my sales are like, like they're not doing great and I'm questioning everything right now. But I get this random person who DM'd me yesterday, said I was Googling DCA affiliate bonuses and I loved yours. And it was all because of SEO, ladies.
Hey, it's Christina Nicholson from the Become a Media Maven podcast. I'm interrupting real quick because while you're here in the podcast app, make sure you head over to Become a Media Maven when you're done listening to this episode. On Become a Media Maven, I talk to all kinds of industry experts and I share my own experience from my job as a TV reporter and anchor and now as the owner of a PR agency. So if you've ever wanted to earn big-time media exposure without spending money on ads so more people knew about you, your business, your brand, your products, or your services, then I got you covered at Become a Media Maven.
So that's what made it stand out to me, because I was like, I missed that keyword is really what it made it stand out to me.
Look, you're still doing amazing though, because aren't you on page 1 with that?
Yeah, we're ranking number 3.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
she wrote it like 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I know, right? It's pretty crazy. Okay. So before we go, because we have to go here in just a minute, there's 2 really important questions I have. We've talked about it just a little bit, but the relationship between content and SEO, if you could sum that up in about 30 seconds, what are your thoughts on that? The relationship between content and SEO.
Okay. I need 5 seconds.
Okay.
SEO first.
Okay.
SEO first. Like that's what I do. I don't sit down and write a blog. I mean, my beginning blogs were terrible, but I always start with the SEO on that because I want to be able to write quality content and be able to naturally talk about it. I'm not about keyword stuffing. And it, to me, I think like the journalism brain, the story editor of me, like I can write about anything under the sun, right? So I need to have that focus and know the purpose. And so, yeah, for me, it's SEO first. It has been. The where I have sucked is my own podcast, because I tried to do like cutesy titles. Like Friends was like the one who, and I tried to be like the massage therapist who now copyrights testimonials. And I'm like, that's not working. And I know better. And sometimes I'm just a rule breaker. I try to be rebellious and sometimes it just doesn't work and it's not working.
But here's the thing with that too. Like you can go back and change the titles. Crystal and I have recently been playing with like the descriptions and the titles. It's okay. You're not married to that. And really any piece of content you could modify.
Exactly. And I've updated things, added the year because the year helps and, change the published date, but absolutely. So that's what I think. What do you think?
I applaud you because I think it's perfect. I mean, if you're thinking of SEO first when it comes to content, you're going to be answering the questions that are going to help you show up as the answer to those questions on Google to bring this full circle.
And one of the first tasks I teach my virtual assistants, and it's in one of my little opt-ins, it's like resizing, watermarking, and file naming photos. You talk about something you can give to a VA. Because you don't want large images, right? That slows down your site. That affects your site speed, which affects like your bounces. So I teach them, and it's a little bit of like repetitive baby work, but you get your foot in the door, you do your rite of passage, you learn how crucial that is. You never put a 4 megabyte headshot on your website unless it's like your press page download. And so we start with that. So that's something a VA can help with, right? Like doing those repetitive tasks that still are crucial to your SEO. You have to go back and fix it.
Yeah. I love that. Like I took a course from SEM Rush that was content-led SEO, but really it is SEO-led content, so I do like that better. But then, okay, so here's my last question. And I mean, this has been amazing. Like Brittany knows the coolest people, and I'd like to say I knew you too, but you knew
I'm so glad first. You knew me first.
It's like that. Brittany's like, but she's my friend first. So, but that's okay. I'm just so glad to meet you today because this is just exceeded my expectations. But what do you think about when you were talking about the people coming to the website because of the blog or whatever? What do you think of the power of that in terms of first party data and having people coming to your website? Like, how powerful is content in that way when you think about first party data and going forward in marketing online?
Are you talking about like from like a credibility authority factor or like domain authority, or like what do you mean?
More from a customer access, customer data access point of view, because like Facebook and all of these other places, they're struggling with this concept of third party data. So it's like, when you have people visiting your website because of SEO, how powerful is that? I just want to see your thoughts.
I mean, I think that's what's putting me in the big leagues with some of these big coaches, is because I'm doing this. I'm taking the effort. That's because I have a marketing background. A lot of, gosh, I'm like digging my counterparts, but a lot of them are admin executive backgrounds. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing here and it's a matter of time, but I know that that's like your first impression is like, I'm looking for a specific answer and I find you. And I try to like track how people find me, how they apply, how they find my Facebook group. And the top ones right now is Google search and YouTube. And they're related, right? They're related.
Yeah.
So I think it's like something that a lot of people aren't doing. And I think as things swing and ads get more expensive, I think this whole organic traffic is going to be sexier and people are going to wish they would have started 3 years ago.
Yep. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Soundbite.
Yes. Although I might have been talking over it.
I have to tell you, one thing I want to mention, because I know you need to go, Crystal, but one thing that I help clients do a lot as a smart marketing VA was when they did a Facebook Live, when they did a podcast, was transcribing that, putting that article, being able, I'm not writing from scratch, but I'm using my marketing brain to help my client like find the right email catchers, find the right next click through thing, embed the right piece of content, but I'm taking something the client already did. They never have to get involved. Like I can take your words, even if you Voxered me, and I can help you create the content. And that's something that your smart marketing assistant can do for you, because we all know, like by the time you write the blog and format it and do the graphics, I mean, it's a whole day. Like it really is a couple of hours. And so your VA can help you with that and help you play catch up. Because if you're probably sitting on mounds of content right now that you could reuse. Like this podcast, like I could come back and reuse it for my stuff too.
Yep.
You
should do that, by the way.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So the last thing we should probably do is there a resource, or like, where would you want people to like go find you and like go get your stuff?
Okay. Couple things. If you want to hire a marketing assistant, you can go to my forum, hireaunicorn.com. It's ranking on Google, and you can submit your job opportunity. I really try to keep it easy. You just add some tasks you need help with. You don't need to have this formal job description, and I will share it with my work group. I have about 90 men and women who are freelancers with different specialties, different things that they can help with, and then they'll just reach out to you, and you won't be inundated like a Facebook group with 40,000 VAs. So you can hire a marketing assistant. And then if you are thinking about either sponsoring your VA and letting them level up into marketing, if you want to become a marketing assistant, I have a course called the Unicorn Digital Marketing Assistant School. There's a wait list. There's a podcast, there's a Facebook group, there's a YouTube channel, like all the freaking things. But if this is something you want, like come find me. I actually have the most fun on Instagram at Emily Reagan PR, and I'll point you in the right direction.
I love it. And don't worry, we'll put all of those links below.
I'm
in the show notes.
In the show notes, which we learned this week is actually called show descriptions. Yeah.
I have to tell you something. And I'm sorry, I can't stop talking, but I had a big business owner. She's a multimillionaire and she's a friend. And when you Google her name, she doesn't come up. It's this like bodybuilder. And I'm like, girl, like we need to be able to find you first, like easiest thing to rank for. And I think you guys should talk about like the PR aspect of backlinks, and
yes,
throw that in there for your next podcast episode and tease it out.
See, because I can go make my reel. Well, re-highlight the reel that I made this week about it.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that one.
Is that a part two? Is that a part two? PR?
You're coming back, Emily.
Oh my gosh, I just pitched myself. Yeah, you'll have me.
I love it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. let's tell the people bye. This was amazing. Don't worry.
Yes.
We're going to have Emily back so she can tell us all the things with
Yes.
PR. It's going to be amazing. I can already tell. But Emily, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. This was a great, great conversation.
Yeah, let's do it again. Thank you.
Yes, please. Okay. Bye, people.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, Crystal.
Thanks for joining us today.
If you like this info, subscribe before you go so you never miss out on something related to SEO.
See you next time.